Here we go.
You're a difficult man sometimes. Lord have mercy.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in tonight. We're running a little bit late, but we're going to open up the show with Conversation with the Devil by our friend Joe Nestor, Nestor Nation.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Nestor here, Nestor Nation. Basically, how I've been feeling lately is like, the devil tries his hardest when he knows that God is up to something big, right? He gets scared when he knows that God is getting ready to completely bless you.
Hi, Michelle.
Camouflages and disguises himself any way possible to try and prevent you from receiving God's blessings.
Yes.
Right? The devil's been trying so hard lately, but he can't get me while I'm awake. So he's been coming to me in my sleep, trying to get to me subconsciously. How crazy is that? That's what I wrote a song about. Where are you going, Junior? Don't listen to the rumors. I never meant to spook you. That's my twisted sense of humor. I only want to be human. I only want to be human, so I can ruin every single thing that you are doing. Wait, Judy, come here. Give me your ear. While you're at it, grab me a beer. We can drink it together, We got nothing to fear, yeah.
What's up, Shane Crippen? Hi, Kelly. Hi, Dennis. Hi, Matt. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Amy.
Hi, guys. Hey, everybody.
Hi, Michelle Martinez. I love you.
Just because of you got me sleeping with my lights on, and just because of you, I got the Bible on my iPhone.
Hi, Kelly. Hi, Denny Wilson. I love you, bro. Carl Fry, how are you, bro? Nestor Nation, Conversation with the Devil.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Dave.
Hey, Jerry, Pam, Bobby Lynn, Tracy, Carl, Dave, Monica, Bonnie.
Yeah, your words are lethal. You're playing the hero. You're being deceitful. These people don't need you.
Baltimore City, baby.
I am the reason that you were afraid. I am the reason you feel like a slave. I am the reason you started believing. You are the reason you pray. Whoa.
Hi, Jerry. What's up?
Saved? You wanted the money. You wanted the power. You wanted the fame. Everything comes with a price, Junior. I gave it all to you.
Hi, Scott. I love you, bro. Climb for recovery.
I know he's got my back. He's the reason I'm still alive. So I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Hands around my rosary, because he knows you in my ear. Yeah, he knows you're trying to get close to me. He's working on something big, and he knows you're trying to dig. Trying to
Hi, Beth.
Trying to sabotage. You don't want me playing them seeds.
Hi, Monica.
These things are trying to catch me in my sleep. Better let me
be.
I don't think he'll ever set me free. Oh, better let me be. These demons trying to catch me in my sleep. Better let me be. I ain't gonna rest until my.
Can you see the video on your end, Bradley, on your phone?
On my phone, I can see both of us.
Okay. Because I can't.
Oh.
It's
You
okay,
can't see
though.
both of us? That's crazy. Okay.
No, in the studio I can see it, but not on my.
Give it a follow.
Hey, Michelle.
You gotta be aware of y'all. Stay close to God. What's up, y'all?
Hey, everybody. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Welcome to the Survivor Series. No More Heroin Survivor Series is an original product of NoMoreHeroin.org and No More Heroin Facebook page. And we're all about spreading positivity and giving hope to everybody out there. And we're hoping to reach at least one person. Hoping for more. Give the struggling addict, alcoholic out there, some hope and inspiration to hang on for another day. Because recovery has been very, very beneficial to myself. Bradley feels the same way, and I want to welcome Bradley Bagwell to the Survivor Series. Thank you, Bradley, for being here.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody,
Absolutely.
for being here. I think the Bradley Bagwell fan club showed up in full force tonight. Bradley Bagwell
Hi,
live,
everybody.
baby. So, you know, it's really, really an honor to have you as my guest, because ever since I've known you and been seeing you on social media, you're all about positivity and humor and love and kindness and empathy. And that's kind of the trademarks of what I'm trying to do with the Survivor Series, you know, to extend that hand of recovery to the next person in recovery or someone seeking recovery. So I applaud you for your efforts in trying to spread that throughout the recovery community through your skits, your humor, your videos, which are I just think it's a really, really cool thing. It's unique, but you don't see people out there making skits of Jam Alker every day.
Ooh, I love Jam.
Yeah.
Was that too loud?
No, you're okay. You want to turn it down just a little bit.
Okay, because I laugh really loud in the mic sometimes.
Looking beautiful, Bradley. They're out there. They're out there throwing compliments your way.
Thank you. How's this now?
You're okay.
Okay.
So, everybody, I'm in West Palm Beach, Florida. Bradley is in Texas. So, you know, through the magic of social media and the internet, it brings us all together in this forum. And who is Bradley Bagwell? Where did you grow up, and what's the situation that brought you here?
All right. Y'all ready? 1972. Here's me when I was a little baby. Look at me. I look like I'm gonna get in trouble. It looks like I'm already up to mischief. And this is my parents right here. Can you see? I can't see that one real good, but anyway, and also my brother, my older brother, Tony. I grew up in Nixon, Texas. It's a small town of 2,000, maybe 2,000 people. I was in a class of 40. Here's another cute picture.
So who's the voice in the background, real quick?
Oh, the voice in the background is Betty. It's my mom. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
She's resting. She's going to come over here and talk a little with us here in a minute.
And we've seen your mom on the videos with you, which I think are very cool and unique as well. You guys singing and doing skits together. You know, that's recovery is an amazing thing, because it brings families back together again. You know, did you ever, when you were in your active addiction, pictured yourself being in the situation that you are? You know, in a loving, nurturing relationship again with your mom?
No. No. I mean, she always stood by me, even through my crazy, you know. She always loved me. She never turned her back on me, you know. But it wasn't the same. She didn't trust me, you know. And
Understandable.
Yeah, and our relationship had a big gap in it, you know. But once I came back around, she was full support. And if it wasn't for her, I don't know. It'd be a lot harder to be a happy Terry. So
okay, let's get back to you. You were giving us the backstory. You know, with through your childhood, the pictures. You were a very, very, very cute little kid.
I know, that's so cute. I wish I could have kept that. Okay, so my grandmother, I have a picture here somewhere. I'm real scatterbrained. Y'all already know this about me, but guess what I read? That people who are like, you know, messy and never get everything all organized in order, they're creative. That's when their creative juices are flowing. So my creative juices are flowing because this is a wreck. Okay, look, this is my grandma. She pretty much raised me because my mom would sing with her brothers, those brothers right there. They were called the Joyful Noisemakers. Sweet. And back there in the valley, that's where I grew up. It's called Union Valley. And it was next to Nixon, but Union Valley was the church, and my grandfather was the Baptist priest. And I had a good childhood, you know, and I was taught the right ways. I became a Christian at 12 years old.
And
my grandfather.
This is Texas?
Yes. This is, I guess, southwest of San Antonio.
Okay.
About an hour. here I am with braces, brace face. See, I still had teeth then. She would have never paid that money if she knew I was going to pull what I pulled, huh?
Mess that up.
Yeah, exactly. But in high school, I mean, I was a good kid. I played volleyball and basketball. Here's me with my jacket. I was in band. I played the French horn, and I was on the dance team with the braces off. Look at that set of teeth. Oh my God, I miss those teeth. Oh, anyway, so my grandmother pretty much raised me though, because my mom would go with her brothers and they'd sing in different churches all over Texas. So my grandmother raised me, and she was a great, great lady, and I love her so much. Here's the last teenage picture I'm going to show y'all. That was when I was about 17. So that's all the good. That's all like goodness. It's all good things. I mean, I had some things in childhood that I've, had
Bradley.
to deal with. Yes.
Bradley. Who is Jordan Bagwell?
That's my niece. Hi.
Saying hi.
Hi, Jordan. I love you so much. And I had pictures I wanted to show y'all of
Hi, Jordan. I just thought it was important to interrupt you real quick to show you that you had family support on here as well.
I love my family. I am so excited. I need to be paying attention. Hello. I need to be paying attention. Hi, Brian.
You give your story. I'll pay attention to the comments, okay?
Okay. All right. Good.
Because we're
That's
both
a plan.
ADD. We're both ADD, and we both derail. It's going to turn into a train wreck.
I know. So, okay, gotcha. Okay, so most of my pictures though were on the phone I was planning to set them up on the computer, and this was supposed to go so good, and now I'm like, whoa, I don't know. So I'm just speaking from the heart. I did make some notes, so I don't want to leave things out, but so anyway, I was a pretty average kid, average grades. I wasn't straight A or anything like that. I cared about boys, and when I graduated, my stepfather died when I was about 15 years old. He had cancer, and I moved to Natalia with my aunt and uncle, and their daughter, who I claim is my sister because we lived together a lot growing up. We were always together. So anyway, I got married. Well, okay, let me slow down. When I was 19 years old, I met my soon-to-be husband. I was working at the Colonnade Athletic Club in San Antonio in the mornings, and then at night I would work at the Wyndham Hotel, PBX operator. So I had two jobs. Me and Mom were trying to make it in San Antonio, on our own, and I met this guy at the club, and he was a good-looking guy, all buff and everything. Hello. Yes.
Had you experimented with drugs and drank prior to this?
I drank during high school, and I got smashed a couple of times. I would drink for a purpose, and that was to get drunk. But all the kids were, it wasn't out of the norm, really. And when I was 19, I met my ex at the club, and he had money. That his family was rich. I hate to say this, but I'm just trying to speak truth, fact. He had money, and I grew up poor. I grew up in the country. I was a little country girl, climbing trees and stuff. I made my own amusement, But anyway, so I met him, and he got me pregnant. And we went to his parents and told them, and they wanted an abortion. His mom actually told me that night that she didn't think that he would marry somebody second class,
Wow.
I guess wasn't good enough. And so they wanted somebody that had money too. I was a poor girl, So I was very codependent, on him, but he also became codependent on me because I pumped up his ego and all. And when I got pregnant, I went to them. They wanted the abortion. They said they'd pay for it. And I didn't want that. I went to my mom and my brother. We went out to dinner and I told them that I was pregnant. And they said, whatever you want to do, we will support you. And I always blamed them. Like, why didn't you just say, keep it, we'll help you, but it was still my choice. And I was young and scared. And I had an abortion.
And how did that make you feel?
Terrible.
Yeah.
And this is something I really want to talk about because I've recently dealt with this, so I'm handling it better on screen, and I'm so happy about that right now because I thought I was going to freaking break down. But for the next 27 years, I have mourned on October 2nd. That's a hard day for me because I took a soul, that was my choice. And I am pro-life. I do not think that you should ever give up a baby. There's people who want that baby out there.
Okay, so how did you cope with that in the moment?
I didn't handle it well, but he didn't care how it was done. His parents paid for it. It was done. But I did. So I wanted to get pregnant again. We didn't break up. We stayed together. I got pregnant again, and I was going to keep this one because it made me feel so bad. So I was going to keep this one. I was going to have 10 kids if I could, and make up for this awful thing that I did. But I'm just trying to tell anybody out there who's considering having an abortion or you know someone who is, it messes with you. Like, I have carried this shame. And I have to say thank you to Jim and Marty Downs. They really helped me through this part the other night. I really needed somebody. I needed to tell it. And I'm glad that I talked to them before I talked to y'all, because now I'm able to tell you, how I feel. And but I carried that shame all those years, and I kept trying to make up for it. I wanted to be the best mom ever, and I was a great mom. I wish I had pictures to show y'all my babies.
Well, I appreciate your honesty and your transparency with that, because those things that we keep secret and hold, close to us are the things that torture us the most. And when we're able to verbalize that and talk about it and do a fourth and fifth step over it, Bradley, it helps us heal.
Right. Yes.
Finding closure is so important at this juncture of our recovery, being able to remove the resentments and those feelings of guilt and shame, because we don't need to carry those feelings with us any longer, because we are not the same person. We've been transformed and redeemed into a much better version of ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. God has forgiven me. I was scared to say this because others are going to say, you're going to hell, all that. But guess what? It doesn't matter what other people think. I did it. I can't take it back. I was young. God knows my heart, and He has forgiven me. And that is all that matters. He has forgiven me. So I can move on now, onward and upward, So anyway, I got pregnant again, and I kind of did it on purpose. I have to tell y'all, I read something like a little scripture thing about today. It's called Prayer and Promises for Women, and it was talking about integrity and being honest. And so I'm really trying to just tell y'all how it was, and just be completely honest, because that's integrity too. So I'm working on that. But so we got married behind his parents' back. My uncle married us, and we went to New Orleans and everything. But I had to stop drinking and smoking. I had a tough time with with quitting smoking, and my son, I did quit, but it was like 3 months in that I really totally gave it up. And he was born with a cleft palate, not on the outside, but on the inside. They had to do surgery to like bring it all back together. And he was like 4 years old. They had put casts on both of his arms so he couldn't touch his mouth. He was so clever, though. He figured out a way to drink and eat, and kids are great. But anyway, so I had Tyler, Tad, Olivia, Truman. Those are my 4 kids. But we lived what became a very abusive situation. My ex-husband was, and I want to go over this because I really want other people to know you're not alone, okay? What he was a narcissist. So he would manipulate things and make me question who I was, and I'd feel like I was going crazy sometimes. And he was just he would always make sure that I felt lower than him. And I think that's where his mom was going with that whole, whatever, second class thing or whatever. So he would make me feel like I didn't deserve whatever he deserved, because he was smarter, he had money, he went to college, all of these things. He was always condemning me, always making me feel really bad about myself. Well, that trickles down onto the kids. You have to get out of that situation. It's unhealthy unless you can go to counseling and you can figure out how to reverse the narcissistic tendencies, because it will ruin everything. And I'm not blaming all of that on him. It takes two to run a marriage, but I do want to talk about some things here.
Bradley, do you feel like you were living your life in survival mode most of that time?
Absolutely.
Trying to keep your family together, like you were compromising.
Yes, thank you. I needed to get
compromising your happiness, compromising, your quality of life just so you could raise your family.
Yes, because I was the ultimate peacemaker. I became a professional at manipulating him back, so because I had to keep that picture perfect family, all the pictures made it look like everything was so good, and joyful and happy and everything. And but inside we're all walking around on eggshells. There were some good moments. There was moments that it was like he tried to turn a new leaf, and then something would happen and he'd go back to that way of dealing with things. But then I became just as bad because I started manipulating. Guess what? That teaches your kids to start manipulating the situation. But he always made me feel blame and shame, and the kids picked up on that, and they would tell me stuff and don't tell Dad. I remember one of my kids coming to me and saying, "Don't tell Dad I have an ulcer. He's going to blame it on you, and then y'all are going to fight." And that was just so weird to me. I mean, that really made me realize that this is so unhealthy. They're learning to manipulate that situation too. But when he came home, it was sort of like a black cloud had settled over the house, and the kids learned to quickly disperse. He wanted my attention. He wanted me to tell him how amazing he was and all of that. And as long as I was adoring him, then he loved me.
How long did that go on?
I was married for 18 years.
That's a long time.
Yes. But I became a totally different person. Like, it smothered me. It turned me, like, I pushed Bradley, but okay, I was raised Terry. So I pushed Terry all the way back, and I just became this other person. And I,
Wait. Your name is Terry?
Yes.
So who is Bradley?
Well, I'll tell you about that in a second. Gonna get there. But I wrote some things down. But he was okay. We're going to talk about this real quick. Sexual abuse, condemning me, always making me feel like my body was when I was skinny, I was pretty hot, but he'd say stuff like, "Man, you'd have a good body if you didn't have all those stretch marks," all that. And if I would, we'd see a person who had 4 kids, "Why can't you be skinny like her?" It was always that. Well, it didn't I would make that pretend like it never happened, you know, sweep it under the rug. But one day he told my daughter that she was too fat because she was trying to get in the van and boys were in the way. And he said, well, if you weren't so fat, you know. And I got after him about that. And he was just like, come on, that was just you know, he always tried to make it seem like less than what he did. And he hurt us. Those words are like cutting you. You know, it feels that bad. Somebody may as well have taken something and cut me with it, or, you know, pounded me with a hammer, because it hurts. It hurts. And for her to carry that at 8 years old or so, that was so unfair, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he would throw stuff. And the thing about the physical abuse, that's the sexual kind of thing that with me was like, he always made me feel like I didn't do good enough for him. And then the physical part was he would pretend, okay, this is what I know other women are going through and are suffering with, but they can't put their finger on it, so they can't tell other people that they're being abused. They don't see it like that. I mean, they don't, because they don't know, they don't have the knowledge. So he would do things like trip me. Like if I was walking down the hall, he'd open the door and slam it in my face. But he tripped me a lot. He would, one time when I was hurt, he slapped me and then he'd act like he didn't know and act like he didn't mean it. You know, he did that on a daily basis, and he started doing it to the kids too. When he'd get mad, he would say, well, and he'd say all the right words to sound like, you know, helping, and then he'd punish you somehow and make your life miserable, whether it was with words or doing something like that you couldn't describe, because then he acted like, oh, I didn't mean to do that. That wasn't me. I didn't push her that hard. I didn't push him that hard.
So all the physical and mental abuse, how did that play a role in your addiction?
Well, it caused me finally, after 18 years, because he also scared me into thinking that if I got divorced, he knew people, that he was going to have people kill me. I mean, like, he made me feel scared, and I was so naive and stuff. But when I started, I had back surgery, and I don't know where we are on time, so I'm kind of just trying to go through it here. But I had back surgery, and I had taken Norco even a year before that. And, but that's where, you know, I started loving that feeling. And when mixing it with alcohol, I realized that it numbed the feeling. I didn't have to feel all that crap, you know. But I was still going to all the kids' stuff, and I'd make sure they get off to school. I'd pick them up from, you know, all of that. But I was drinking a lot. And at the end of the evening, I would leave and go to the bar and make him put them to bed. Like I turned it around because I was drinking and I was taking those pills, and I started realizing, and I hung out with this friend who was a lot more powerful, and she would speak words of, you know, you shouldn't put up with that kind of thing. And he didn't want me to have friends, so I would sneak being with a friend. And but I started going to the bar, and that was really unhealthy. About probably 9 months of me just leaving my family and going at the end of the night just so I didn't have to be there.
Thank you, Jimmy, for the encouragement. Jimmy's your cheerleader out here. He's urging you to just breathe. You're doing fine, and you really are. You're doing fine through this.
I know, I'm sorry to talk fast. But thank you, Jimmy.
Angela Bowyer says you're doing fantastic, Bradley. You have a lot of support out here, Bradley.
I love you guys. Y'all know I love y'all so much. I love y'all so much. It's just hard to tell these things for the first time, you know. I'm glad that I handled that with Jim and Marty. That was amazing. And look at me, I have makeup on. I thought I was gonna just break down and cry because when I told them, I broke down like you can't believe. So this was good. Anyway.
Yeah, that's healing. That's the healing power of this. You know, and you're encouraging other people out here to walk through their fears and share those deep dark secrets, because that's when healing and recovery happens, when we can uncover those, those hurts and those bad memories.
Well, this is the first time, and that's why I'm kind of staying on this topic, and I won't talk about it again probably because I want it to be done, and I don't like talking about my ex. He loved to smear my name, though, and I just want peace. That's my nature. So I would create peace in our family, and I would do special things and make everything. And I was kick-ass mom. I'm not gonna lie, I was a kick-ass mom.
Jerry Jones says, "I'm so proud of you, Bradley."
Thank you, Jerry. Thank everybody. I love you, and I love Sarah. I love you. I wore my purple hair for you. So I was always he told me I was damaged goods. He would tell me that because he knew something about my past, he would make me, this I learned quick. I stopped telling him anything because he made me feel like I could trust him. This is in the beginning. And I told him something, a deep, dark secret that I've already handled and I'm not going to talk about. And so he would tell me, nobody else will take you. You're damaged goods. Nobody will love you like I do because you're damaged goods. He wanted to make sure I knew that nobody else would love me ever. And but he also, he made the kids feel this way too. And they all dealt with it in different ways, but most of the time it was leaving, going outside and staying as long as they could, going to friends' houses. Tyler lived at his friends there. I'm so blessed that he had some really amazing friends and family that would take him in when he was miserable there, Are you still hearing me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. It got really quiet. Okay. And so you feel like you're weak, less confident, and they don't want you to have friends. They isolate you from your family. For years, I didn't really have a big relationship. My mom and I would talk every morning. We'd watch Good Morning America, and we'd talk on the phone and talk. That was back in the day when the phone was connected to the wall. Anyway, but we still had that relationship, but I never could see her. We didn't go down there much. And I only lived in Houston, Okay. So I was married for 10 years in Stone Oak, and all the kids would come over. I was the neighborhood mom, lived in a cul-de-sac, and everybody, it was just a really cool first house to buy, And then we moved to the second house, and it was a kind of I hate to say it like that, but like a more upper class neighborhood or whatever. It was right across from the school, 2,000 square foot, beautiful home. And one day we had a intercom system, and all the kids would be up in the game room playing, and I was listening to them so I could make sure nobody was hurting somebody else, whatever. And I heard them say, "Go ask your mom." And one of my kids said, "She doesn't know. She didn't go to college." And that was something that Rodney would always say. Oh, my ex would always say that, and make me feel like I didn't know anything, And I haven't gone to college. I only took an English course, and that's it. But anyway, they create an upper hand. They make sure that you feel low. He was also very prejudiced. He just was always putting people in categories, and that really bothered me because I'm not. I'm colorblind. I love everybody. And so that really bothered me. And he played that down on the kids, and I was always correcting that, And I have a lot of stories to tell, but I'm trying to keep it to what I wanted to say here. So they want you to lose your uniqueness. They want to take your identity. That's what narcissists do, and that's abuse. You cannot. And so when it started happening to my kids, I realized that I started drinking a lot more. This is once we moved to Houston. He told me not to make friends. It was just like a weird thing. He was isolating me and trying to keep control of me. So I go into drinking, and then he kept saying that I was a whore and I was cheating on him, and I wasn't. I was just going up there, hanging out with some friends, but I was learning. I was getting a little knowledge, about the world because I had been so closed off from everything. I was just a mom. I taught Awanas. Took them to church every Sunday. I mean, I did all that stuff, but it was all right there in that little, I didn't know what was going on out in the world. So I'd go to the bar, hang out. Eventually, okay, so I told you that he made me very scared to leave him. And I knew that, and so I told him I wanted a divorce. One day I took him to lunch and I said the way he treated Olivia and the kids, and I just laid it all out there. And I told him I wanted a divorce. And everything changed after that. It got really crazy. He really started calling me a whore. And I started going up there more, drinking more, not taking my pills according to prescription. Sometimes I'd trade the pill so I could get a drink or, sell a couple. And he told me, that you're a whore, you're cheating and all that. And so eventually I did. It was just a one night. I was drunk and whatever. But it's not acceptable. I shouldn't have. It took me 8 years to have the guts to do that. And I knew that was the only thing I could do that was going to make him divorce me,
So that was the activating event to get you out of your marriage?
Right. And so I tried to leave with my daughter, Olivia. We went to my mom's. I don't remember why, but the other kids were like doing something. And this was just to get away for a few days. Well, he talked me into coming back before I was even supposed to come back, saying something about Olivia. I don't even remember what story he told me, but Olivia's got to be back here for something. Okay, so I brought her back. And right when I got to the driveway, he served me some person served me the papers. So that meant he got the kids until the divorce went through. He had the upper hand. If I took him, he would have, because he's vindictive now because he hates me.
Hi, Marisol.
Maddie, he would have filed kidnapping charges. He would have. And so I did not take the kids. And I actually decided to go ahead and suck it up, stay married. I deleted all of the bar people off my Facebook so he would leave them alone and not bug them. And I didn't want to have contact with them because I was going to try to do good. So I got a job at the little pizza place down the street. And so for a whole year, I really didn't drink. I think I had 2 beers after work once. And other than that, I didn't. I was staying home. I was just doing the kids' events at school and things like that. I wasn't drinking at all. Yeah, but I was still taking my pain meds, but according to prescription. I wasn't trading them out. I was doing good. Well, we went for a whole year of that, and I was doing good. If I would have been so scared of him inside, I mean, he really had me beat down to. I was scared of him. I would have fought, but here's what happened. So about a year after he filed the papers, we got a thing in the thing saying, this is your last court date, because he kept suspending it. I didn't even know that. Well, he got a thing and I saw it and I'm like, what's this? And he's like, no, it's going to be canceled. And I told Ty, he was my oldest son. I said, you might need to go to court with me to speak for all 4 of you, So he said he was going to take off that Monday and come with me. And my ex said, no, we've canceled that. It's done. Well, about that time, I also ran out of Norco. And it was about 3 or 4 days in, I was sick. Well, he showed up for court.
Big Jim down. Big Jim's in the house.
Hi, Big Jim. I'm so glad you guys are here. Thank you so much. So it was a trick. He showed up for court and I wasn't there. He called me, he said, you better get up here. I was sick, from coming off the pills, just like coming off heroin. It's hard. You get really sick. And he knew I wasn't going to come up there. And he got on. His sister got on and said, if you just let him take the kids, I'll make sure that you don't have to pay child support. He'll give it back, whatever, and you will be seeing. Y'all will make arrangements where y'all are both seeing the kids. I trusted her because she's a pastor, so I really did. But somewhere along the way, she got sick of the whole drama of it all, and she just dropped off. And none of those promises that she said on the phone that day were taken care of. So he pretty much tortured me. I could not see my kids. He was always making me, and so I started drinking more because I went back to New Braunfels. He was in Houston. He had my 2 younger kids and also my oldest because he was about to graduate. He didn't want to leave all his friends, and I want him to be there for the little ones. But not having my babies, that tore me up. They were my entire life, and he took them. He took him, and I knew that I couldn't fight him. And it was so scary, and I was so naive, and I just let him have them, basically. And for the sake of peace, I didn't even fight him for money, for the house sale, nothing. I just took the car and left. And I couldn't take my kids because I knew he would file kidnapping. So my daughter starts cutting. How are we on time? I'm sorry.
Just keep going. You're fine.
Okay. So my daughter started cutting herself, and it's a lot of weird stuff happened, and I had no control over it. And I sometimes he would let the phone get turned off, so I couldn't talk to them, and he kept them away from me for a while. And so I started drinking a lot more, and I met this guy. I was with him for about 2 years. He was a barfly or whatever. And so we went there a lot. And but that's how I handled not being with my kids. And he just always was pulling I just wish I could tell y'all everything, but it would take a whole day. But he did so many vindictive things. And I think he was playing it out in his head of something I was doing that I wasn't. I just wanted to see my kids. So I didn't tell him where I moved. I got a nice house in New Braunfels, and I was working at Bluebonnet Ford, and everything was going good. I still had the boyfriend. I had Tad with me because Tad and my ex did not get along, and so he let me take him, but he kept my babies, So I broke up with that guy, and I started working. So I lost that job because due to all the drama. But my oldest son came to visit me, and he was finally going to let me see True. But I still wouldn't give him my address. I wouldn't tell him where I was because at this point, so much had happened. I was scared. And I knew he was going to get the house. I knew what was going to happen. I saw it in my head. Well, Ty came, and when he got there about an hour later, he said, he looked at his phone, and it said, your phone has been traced by this number. So now he knew where I was. He knew my address. And by the end of the month, the guy that owned the house, he told me I had to leave. So he called him and told him all this bullshit. And I was still maintaining. I wasn't bad yet, okay? So all this stuff happens. Then he starts putting my son in any other place so he didn't have to take care of me. He was putting him in institutions. He put him in a foster care. All this stuff, and I had no control. My daughter got taken. Honey, slow down. My daughter got taken by CPS. And that was so hard because when I saw her, like, she was just like this. She had no feelings. She didn't know. They had put her on all of these trial medications and everything. I mean, she had a whole basket of medicines by the time. It took me a year to win her back. And the judge said she goes with me, Truman would go with there, and then we wouldn't owe child support. I didn't really want to do that. But again, I was scared of how he was going to portray me, And so after that, I got a job. I was working at AT&T and Buc-ee's. I had a good house up on the hill, had the boys with me. True came to see me for the summer. All was looking good. I was on my way up. I had a car. I had a truck. And when True left, the very next day, he called me and said, Mom, because he had like little bit of a long hair kind of shaggy thing. Mom, they took me to some place. They tricked me. They said we were going here, and instead they shaved my head and they made me out. They were asking me all these questions. They made me, pee in a cup, and they took his hair strand and everything. He went some kind of boot camp type thing.
It's a horrible, horrible experience.
And I feel so bad for him because he had so much fun with us. He was so happy. It always takes him a few days to be back to his normal self again, and then he remembers who Truman is. But he's gone through so much. And this kind of stuff kept happening. But I had those 2 jobs, and I started not being able to make it because I was working from 8 in the morning till 5, go home, sleep a couple of hours, and then 10 to 6 in the morning and get ready and go to the other job. That's how I had to do it. And so this is where it happens. I ran into an old buddy, and he said, yeah, I used to use Coke, but now I use meth, and it's a whole lot cheaper, and it keeps me going for days. And I said, what is it? I had no clue. Here's the thing. If my kids, I was really a naive parent too. And this is important for you guys to know what the drugs are out there, so y'all know what to look for. If my kids had brought home meth in one of those little bags, I would have probably put it in my bathtub because I would have thought it was bath salt. I did not know about a lot of drugs. And so I used cocaine once with my ex. No, it was a couple times with my ex in the very, very beginning. But then we didn't do it anymore. I don't know why, we just stopped. And so meth, I tried it, and I was able to stay awake for days. It was awesome. Before I knew it, I had lost both jobs because of it. So that I lost my house. I met another guy who, I wasn't dating that guy who gave me meth. That was just my very good friend from bar time. And but he went into a coma. I ended up going to his house and taking care of him because he had diabetic coma and all that. So I got exposed to even more drugs. That's where the heroin and all that stuff was. And that was a trap house, I guess, whatever you call it.
So what kind of consequences? What kind of consequences did you face from your meth addiction?
Well, I lost everything. My kids, the older 2 that were with me, Tad just decided to hit the road with his guitar. Tyler went back to Houston, so I lost their respect. Truman was in this trouble, and Olivia was staying with my mom. And I just completely stopped caring about anything. That's all I cared about was getting my pills and getting my meth. And if anything else came in, in the room, I would do that too. And so then I met this guy, and he was a very verbally or emotionally abusive. And I didn't know how to get away from him. He was a really big dude. My mom was like, he's going to break you in half, she'd get scared. But so I did a whole lot of mess with him. But we was 6 months, and we broke up. I hid from him and went to Carl's, and I hid in my truck, and me and Tad stayed there. And that's when Carl and I started to see each other. And he kind of rescued me, so he is my hero. Carl. But he also, Carl, the Carl that I'm with now. He said, he did. There was no money issues, so he knew that I could get it, and so I would get it. And we had quite the adventure for the next 2.5 years. But we kept doing stupid stuff, like losing our storage unit that had all of my baby's things in it. Because at some point we stopped being able to afford things. We moved into a house, and it got raided, and we had to leave immediately because it was a, nice little neighborhood, whatever. And that was my favorite house too. Oh, I wanted to stay. And so we moved to Baytown. And the kids came with me at one point, and they were staying in the truck. And he and I would go in there and trip on acid, go in a hotel room and trip on acid. And whatever and do meth and pills and everything else, you know. But Carl, you know, never made me feel bad about my body. And we had quite the adventure for 3 years. That's all I'm going to say. But, you know, I don't look at it as fun times now. I mean, that is where I learned a lot of things. But I feel more whole. I don't feel like I'll never be with another person. I will never even be friends with another person who makes me feel the way he feels. When that happens, I immediately end that relationship. I have become so much stronger. Nobody needs to stay in that situation, because guess what? It trickles down onto your kids. It does. So we have to be strong and be brave. And I'm still, you know, oh, I was going to tell you all about this. So here's what happened. My house got raided, and then the next week I got arrested, and Truman was with me, and he was 13 at the time. And I got arrested. Anyway, I ran from them, and I have a story to tell, but I'm not sure how appropriate, but it's funny. Can I tell it?
Yeah, whatever.
Well, I mean, everybody knows, they've all been there, you know, where you can't pass the piss test. Well, I got arrested, and I was just going to get probation, and I had to go back for the hearing on January. They probably would have put me in a rehab, a regular rehab, but like maybe an out, whatever it's called, like where you can go home and all that. Well, I just did every single drug I could find. And I thought I was just going to pass the piss test like everybody else, but I didn't even know how. And I was stupid, and I just was methed out all the time. Believe me, I started seeing demons. This whole, man.
What's a picture in your hand? What are you holding?
This is when I went to prison. So that's ultimately what happened. I'm going to skip that story. But there's my mom and my sister and me in the white. And so I was in jail for 11 months, and but it was a good experience for me. That's how God saved me. And I read this book while I was inside, and it was called Purpose Driven Life, and that was an amazing book. I recommend it. I mean, I've read it before a long time ago when I was still married. It didn't mean what it meant to me when I was in jail and I had to deal with stuff. It really helped me, because it makes you try to be honest and see what your talents are and see who you are. Okay, so one morning they made me get up in front of the 68 girls and do the weather. Somebody always had to get up and do it. So I got up and I started making jokes, talking British and all, and they loved it. So every morning, and I hadn't talked to anybody. Nobody even knew who I was, really. You know, I was quiet. It was me and Chavez. She was the only person I would talk to. And so I got up there and did that. And from then on, they had me up there every day doing a skit. I started doing skits about addiction and all that. And that's where all this started for me. So I make silly videos. Sometimes they don't apply to it, but it's more about letting people know that this is what sobriety looks like on me. And I love me, and I love making people laugh, and I love sharing love out there, and being there for people when I can. And so that's what I'm doing. That's me now.
That's the reputation you've built for yourself too. That's your brand.
Yeah, that's me. So that's pretty much how it happened. But you know, meth really messed with my head. It took me about 6 months to really be able to think straight. And I'm just so blessed that I got taken out of that situation, because I'd probably be dead right now. Because the next thing for me was heroin, because it started becoming so much harder to find pills. And they, you know, everybody offered that $20, you know, try this. But
so let's start focusing your story on the blessings of recovery.
Yes.
What are the blessings in your life?
I have so many blessings, and I wanted those pictures to show you, but I don't have. But
where's Betty?
My mom is right behind me. Mama, come on over here. I should have gotten you a chair.
That's definitely
Sit right
a
there.
blessing.
Yes, and so I have my mama,
Hi,
and
Betty.
they said, hi, Betty.
Hi, Betty.
I can't hear. I don't have a place for you to sit. Anyway, I'm going to have to move back towards her, I guess. Can I run and get her a chair? Are you fine? Okay. All right. They said, hi, Betty. Hi, Mom.
You could give her one. You could give her one of your earbuds so she can hear as well.
Well, it won't reach.
All right, never mind.
All right, never mind. Okay, that's okay. But yeah, so Mom and I have a great relationship. She, when I first started making videos, she was like, have y'all seen the Superman one? She was like, oh my gosh, you put that out there? Well, then people started telling her how funny it was and how they loved it and all that. Before I know it, my mom's like, are we going to make a video tonight? I love that. I love that she wants to be in on it, because it's about enjoying. God wants this for us. He doesn't want us to constantly be walking around with shame and feeling bad about ourselves, And so on a daily basis, I am trying to figure out who I am, And hold on, I had something to say about that. They want to take, so the narcissist wants to take away your identities, but you have to figure out who you are, so that you can recover from all that damage that was done in here and here,
So how do you work on your self-worth? I mean,
okay.
How do you rebuild your self-esteem?
Well, Bonnie made me start standing in the mirror and telling myself,
positive affirmations. That's right.
Yeah, I love myself. You're beautiful. And that was so weird for me. I was like, how you doing?
So do me a favor right now while you're on video.
Okay.
Say 5 positive things about you, starting with I am. 5. I am.
I am blessed. I am beautiful. I am forgiven. I am loved. I am funny.
Booyah. Booyah.
Booyah.
That's right.
Oh, my mom said, I'm crazy.
6.
Oh,
booyah,
where's
booyah.
Oh, man. That's one of the songs Mom and I sing. Is crazy. Patsy Cline. Go ahead.
You guys were before we went live. You guys were harmonizing, singing together. That was very impressive.
Thank you. We're actually going to sing that for y'all, real quick, if everybody wants to hear it.
Okay, real quick. Before that, plug your pages.
What?
Plug your pages. Where can people find you?
Oh, okay. I'm going to put it at the end of. the. Hello, it's not focusing. At the end of the deal, I'll put. I have Bradley Bagwell, and that's just where you can find all my silly stuff. I'm really blurry. Do you see me?
I can see you fine.
Okay. So Bradley Bagwell, that's a page where you can just go and find my videos. That's why I created it, just so I'd have a place where all those are, because people are like, I can't find that one that you did, whatever. So you can go there. And then I have Give It Away Live. It's attached to Fight Club, my group Fight Club. Join Fight Club. So Fight Club is my group, and then Give It Away Live, where we do, I'm going to be I still do them on my page, but then I post them there. So everybody can go and watch Bonnie's testimony and John Anderson.
I'll get Bonnie on here eventually.
And Jimmy. Yes, please. He has a great story. But there's a lot of lives that I've done, even just some silly ones like Sunday Fun Day or Open Mic Night, where a bunch of people come on. And so that's where all those are. So those are my 3. And then I have Never Alone. I'm going to plug that because I really want some people to do the 2-minute video. We need to keep that rolling and challenge somebody else.
Never
It can
Alone
be about
videos,
anything.
Anything.
Yes, just to let other people know that they're not alone. You could be experiencing, just a tiny little thing that could be what a lot of other people are struggling with. One thing can really make us stumble. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I want people to do that. Go to Never Alone
The Never Alone video challenge page.
video challenge, right? Okay, so we're gonna sing for you
Okay.
real quick. Okay, ready? Come on, here,
Do you have a chair?
say hello. Make sure they can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear. Can you get her
You
a
heard
chair,
her?
man? Can you get her a chair?
I'm gonna let her sit here so that we can do it. Here, Mom.
Sit there.
No, I want you to, and I'll lay down.
Come on, Come on, Mom. Get up here.
She doesn't want to mother.
Stubborn. Okay. All right. Hello. Here we go. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. 'Twas blind, but now I see. Ran out of breath.
She ran out of breath. I didn't.
He said, "Yay!"
Let's put some hearts on that, guys. Let's throw some hearts up there.
I hope
Really
it wasn't
good.
too loud. I meant to turn it down a little.
It was
Oh,
perfect. It
thank
was
you
perfect.
guys. Y'all are so amazing. But it is amazing grace is why I'm here. And he scooped me up out of the pits of hell, and he sat me down. I needed to go, and it changed my life forever.
Awesome.
Yes.
They love the singing. They love the singing. What would you like to say to anyone out there in closing that might be in the situation you have been in, that might be contemplating relapsing, that may be struggling?
Okay.
Give them some words of encouragement.
Okay, first of all, it tore me down to nothing. Like in my mind, I had to figure out who I was before I ever met him, because I was a very jolly, happy soul. Ask my mom. I went to Barbizon modeling school. I was like, I had the frame of mind of a happy. I'm who I am now, really. Like I was happy. I wanted to do things, and if I could go back and do it again, I would have either seek counseling immediately to change those things. Like when you start seeing the signs that I talked about of abuse, don't let it fly. Don't keep sweeping it under the rug, because guess what? Eventually you're going to run out of rug. And then at that point, it's going to be too late. Your kids are already have been abused. You've been abused, and it will cause you to relapse, and or even just to start doing drugs. I never did meth till I was 41 years old. So it kind of drove me to it.
In trying to rebound from domestic abuse, surviving the ordeal with a narcissist, trying to salvage your family, the best thing you can do for yourself is to seek counseling, and you begin a journey of recovery in finding your identity.
Right. Yes. And I am. The more and more I figure out who I was before all that happened, the more my heart heals. Don't let it get that far that you lose who you are, because this big game, this manipulation game, you learn to play it for your peace, or just to survive, like you were talking about, Higgy. You learn to do these things, and your kids learn to do these things. Before you know it, you just got a whole web of things that are out of control. You cannot control. And so That's all I have to say is don't let it get that far. There's help out there. Things are becoming, you got to get knowledge. That's a big deal. I had no clue. I was clueless. I just wanted a happy home, So that's what I strived for. But you can get online and you can Google stuff now. You can Google sexual abuse and verbal abuse, find out exactly what you're dealing with. Type in exactly what you're dealing with, because I could never pinpoint it. I couldn't explain how he hurt us, because he always made it seem like it was an accident. Okay, I have one more story real quick. I have one more story.
Okay.
Is one thing that started to change in me that happened was when he called Olivia fat. And then my son Tad's real ADD when he was younger, ADD big time. He needed my attention all the time. And so he came in and he was telling me about his day, Rod came in and was telling me about his day. Sorry, my ex came in and he's telling me about his day, but Tad kept interrupting, And so from the kitchen to the living room where we're on the floor, he threw one of those big stainless steel strainers, and it sliced. He threw it right at Tad, and he sliced his knee open. And then he was like, "I didn't mean to do that. I was just trying to get your attention," So immediately, not taking any responsibility. Well, his knee was all bleeding and everything. I band-aided up and everything as well as I could. And I loaded all the kids in the car and we drove around for an hour and I just cried. I didn't know what to do and I had no money. And I couldn't go and put all 4 of my kids on my family because my stepdad found out he had cancer and they were dealing with that, So I went and we started seeing counseling around that time. And this is what happened. I told him that he had thrown that strainer at him, and that was the kind of things that happened almost daily that I couldn't explain, but this was wide open. I could show that he did it. And he goes, "Why didn't you leave that day?" That's what the counselor asked me while we were sitting in marriage counseling. And he said, and Rodney just smirked because she didn't have the money. He was so happy that he could control me and that I had no choice. I had to stay there, So that's just that was one story I meant to tell because those were the kind of things that happened that I let go and just kept sweeping. So please don't sweep. Clean out your closet, your closet. And if you're in that situation, get out of it or seek counseling.
Absolutely.
And I'm here. You can reach out to me.
Thanks. I want to applaud you. You are a survivor. You are the definition of what this series is about. Someone that has overcome those seemingly insurmountable odds to have a life of purpose and destiny. And I really believe that you're on a divine path. You're rebuilding your life. You're building yourself up from the inside out with an amazing support network, and your heart is in the right place, and people love you. And as I keep telling you, always speak from your heart.
Okay.
And people will be drawn to you because people recognize genuine kindness, genuine love, and you're one of those people. So thank you for being here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I thank you guys for sharing the videos. I was checking. There's a phenomenal amount of shares on this.
Oh,
so
I love you guys so much. I mean, I don't know what I would do without this community. I love everybody so much. Y'all know. Y'all already know. I love y'all.
Okay. In closing, I want to thank Joe Nestor Nation for allowing us to open up the show with his song, "My Conversation with the Devil," which is on YouTube. Check out Nestor Nation on YouTube, Nestor Nation Facebook page. He'll be performing with the Cloud Gang in Baltimore, Maryland, February the 24th. If you guys are in the area,
wish I was in the area.
Please come on out. I'm sure they'll be back in the Texas area sometime soon, or in different areas of the country.
Before we close, would you say a prayer?
Sure.
Okay. All right, we're going to pray, everybody. For everybody that's in the room, okay? This is about everybody.
Okay.
You pray.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this time together. Thank you for this opportunity to provide hope, healing, and passage into recovery. Hopefully, this message from Bradley touched someone out there that will encourage them to seek a better life for themselves, seek education and knowledge to better their situation, and first and foremost, to give them the ability to believe in themselves, that they believe that they deserve better than the life they're living today.
Yes.
And if they're on this path of recovery, please, Father, empower everyone in this community to keep striving for better, to become the very best versions of themselves, for themselves, for their family, and for their other loved ones and their support network. Please, Father, place a special hedge of protection around everyone in this chat thread tonight.
Yes.
Please empower them, work through them, in them, and through them, so that they may be a benefit to someone else. Please, Father, bless, guide, and protect us all throughout this night as we begin another day. And thank you for another day clean and sober. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. That was beautiful, and I love those words. And empower. You know, God is amazing.
Empower people.
Yes.
Now, please. And in closing, I wanted you all to know that you all are deserving of love, to give it, feel it, and receive it.
Yes.
Believe in yourself. Recovery is so worth it. And I love each and every one of you. We'll see you again on Sunday with, I have author Laura Lee Rosano from the Jagged Edges trilogy. She'll be joining us from Canada.
Yes. Canada, eh? Yes.
All right. Good night, everybody.
All right. Good night, everybody. I love you.
Good job.
Bye.
Love you.